as expected, I got cut off, so hopefully you heard those directions. This is video 2 as well. If you clicked on this one first and you haven't done video 1, make sure you go back. So again, you are going to look at these pictures of organisms that I'm going to show you in a minute, and then you're going to predict what is the definition of these words based on your understanding that they are the definitions. Ocean organisms are categorized based on the way they move. So how do you think each of these organisms move? So here are benthos, nekton, and plankton cards. Finding Nemo also a show that has a lot of science in it. So go ahead and pause the video at this time, talk with your group about how you think or what you think is the definition of each of these words now that you know that Patrick is a benthos, Squidward is a nekton, and plankton is a plankton. So go ahead and pause the video at this time. Once you are done coming up with your predicted definitions, right here, you'll push play and I'll give you the actual definitions. Okay, so hopefully you push play at this, or you've now discussed and you've already filled out this entire column, and I'm going to give you the actual definition. So benthos, we saw that benthos was Patrick. Patrick is a starfish, and so we're going to write starfish here. Starfish are, benthos, whoops, didn't mean to open this. Benthos are what are called bottom dwellers. They are organisms that cannot swim, they can't move, they are stuck to the, well, they can move, sorry, but they're stuck to the ground, they can't get off the ground. And so that can include plants and animals, so they include things like kelp, sponges, worms, fungi, clams, and things like that. Plankton, as you saw, was plankton. Plankton is a plankton, that's why it's lovely that is his name. Planktons are small organisms that move with the current. If at any point in time I'm also going too fast in this video, just feel free to pause it. I'm just trying to get as much as I can into each of these 10-minute videos. And so planktons are so little, there's animals that are so tiny, incredibly tiny, that they can't actually swim. They can swim, they can drift around, but they can't like swim against the current. And so they're just gonna kind of get swept with wherever the water is going. And so things that are planktons are krill, which you have, if you watch Finding Nemo closely, they talk about krill, or there are krill. Jellyfish, they aren't strong enough to swim against the current. And then we have what are called zooplankton, and that, E-L-A-N-K-T-O-N, those are like zoo, meaning animals, really, really small animals. And then you also have phytoplankton, which are just really, really small phyto, like photosynthesis plants. And so those are some examples of nekton. And then, plankton. And then the last type of animal are nekton. Now, nekton are swimming animals. Nekton are animals that are big animals. They can swim independently of the current and they're strong. So fish, whales, dolphins, octopus, shrimp, eels, things like that. Okay, so we are going to do, well, you can pause that if you didn't finish that, finish those notes, and then we're going to do some whiteboard practice. There's actually 21 questions. We're only going to do half of them right now because only half of them we've learned so far. Obviously, you don't have a whiteboard today. Obviously, I'm not here to record the whiteboard. So what's going to happen is I'm going to show you a slide. You're going to write down your answer in the corresponding number, and then you are going to, you are going to write your answer in the space, pause it if you need some extra time. I am going to go fast again to fit as much as I can in this video. So what you're going to do for the first set of questions is you are going to just write down whether or not I am showing you a benthos, a nekton, or plankton. And the numbers of the question are really small in this box, but I'll tell you as well. So this is number 1, a starfish. Is it benthos, a nekton, or a plankton? Pause the video, and then when everyone in your group has the answer, you can push play. Okay, starfish is a bottom dweller, so it is going to be a benthos. Number 2, a fish. Push pause. Okay, great. A fish is able to swim, so it is going to be a nekton. Number 3, this is a sea sponge. Go ahead and push pause. Okay, hopefully everyone's wrote it down. This is a bottom dweller, so it is going to be a benthos. Number 4, go ahead and write down your answer. Push pause. Great. A shark can swim. It is a nekton. Number 5, a sea turtle. Go ahead and push pause. The sea turtle can swim, so he is going to be a nekton. This is a krill, so go ahead and push pause. Great, a krill is not strong enough to swim, it's just a little guy, so he is going to be a plankton. And number 7, we have a crab, push pause. All right, the crab is not able to swim and it can't get off the bottom, so he is a bottom dweller, he is a benthos. An octopus, push pause. I don't know why I paused, because you're pushing pause. Octopus can swim, so he is going to be a nekton. This is a killer whale. Go ahead and push pause. A killer whale, all right, it can swim, so he is going to be a nekton. And is this our last one? Yes, this is our last one for the section. The jellyfish. Go ahead and push pause. Great. A jellyfish is not a strong enough swimmer to go against the currents. It will get swept up with the currents, and so that is going to be a plankton. Okay, so we're going to come back over here, and we are going to now talk about, let's see, the ocean zones. Okay, so the ocean is divided into several zones. You're going to examine each below, and then we're going to define them and look at the life in each of them. And then we'll practice again with the quote-unquote whiteboards. Unfortunately, this is just going to be a note-taking session, so it's super not interesting, but you just have to have these notes. So the first one is the intertidal zone. We actually did not see this in any of our Finding Nemo clips. The intertidal zone is the area on the shore that falls between high and low tide. Okay, and so its depth range is, and so what that means is that when you're on the beach and you know how you put your chair out, and if you leave it there all day, the water gets closer and closer to it, and then further away. That's the intertidal zone. And so that's all this zone of the ocean is, that area there that's sometimes underwater and sometimes above water, depending on what time of the day is. So this depth range, like how deep is 0 meters. And it receives lots of sunlight because it gets all kinds of sunlight. Now, the types of animals that live here are interesting ones. So we have barnacles. Those are things that, like, if you go to the beach and you see like the pier and the poles at the pier that holds the pier up, and there's like all these like weird little things on it, those are barnacles. And so these things just like cling on to that and they grow there. You also are going to have those small crabs that burrow into the sand. And we're not going to be able to do this picture part right now because I obviously can't show you this. So someone remind me tomorrow and we'll fill this part in. So organisms in the intertidal zone have to have really special adaptations because they have to be able to exist above and below water, right? Because at some points in the day they're above water and at some points in the day they're below water. So they have to be able to have these really specialized bodies and things so that they don't obviously suffocate if they're in the air or suffocate if they're underwater. They also have to be able to cling to the shore because if they don't, they're going to get swept out to the sea, which is why those sea crabs, if you notice when the tide goes out, you see all these little tiny holes that pop up in the sand. That's those sea turtles or sea crabs burrowing in so they don't get swept out to sea. So anyway, special adaptations. Able to live above and below water. And then we also said need to cling to surface so they don't get swept out to sea. Okay. The next zone, this is in the clip with Finding Nemo where the very beginning, that was beautiful and colorful. The neritic zone is the ocean area that slopes down from the edge of the shoreline to the ocean floor. Okay. And so if we see right here, if you see this edge of the shoreline, the neritic zone just goes from here to here. And so when it starts to drop off, like where Nemo said, it drops off, that is no longer the ocean zone or the neritic zone. So I'm going to stop right here so I don't run out of time. But again, the neritic zone it goes from the shoreline all the way to the drop-off point. You can go ahead and resume this with video 3.